A message to Lightworkers, February 7, 2017. The latest guidance from the Ascended Masters, Archangels, Galactics, Earth Elementals, Fairy Elders, and angelic beings known as the Collective. Greetings, Lightbringers. We are pleased to have this time to speak with you today. And we see that despite the tumult that is pouring out around you, the vast majority of you are seeing beyond the events that appear to be dividing whole populations in a number of countries. Most light-bearers are understanding quite well, using their awakening levels of intuition and inner sight, that this is not a time of division, though it may appear to be. It is in fact a time of unity, in which humankind is speaking out for its own, and on its own. Emblematic of this outpouring of the commands of the higher selves of millions, is the conscious awareness that the Divine Feminine is more apparent, more palpably present, and more fully expressed now on the earth than she has been for many thousands of years. It was one of the requisite points of the dissolution of the pillars of Atlantean society, that the feminine would be downgraded to that of a position of smallness and subservience under the male dominance. And through various means, political, economic, social, technological, and etheric, that strange misbalance has remained over the centuries. Until now. Much of the posturing, yelling, name-calling, and shirking of responsibility that you are witnessing from a number of authoritarian leaders in both East and West, has to do with a desperate attempt to retain this imbalance, as they are aware that their current stance and the entire structure they answer to depends upon it. And yet, that false structure is crumbling now, as assuredly as the higher dimensional forms and precepts of Atlantean society once crumbled. For the tide has shifted. This new era does not tolerate the forms of narrowness and constriction of either thought or form that the former era required of Earth's people, while using fear as its basis of control. And so you see now the people of the Earth making pronouncements which, energetically and often outwardly, carry far greater weight and substance, and have far more powerful consequences, than the pronouncements of your supposed leaders. There are world leaders who are aware of this shift, and are not attempting to oppose it. Some of you might be surprised to hear which leaders, known for a love of militarism and isolationist stance, are quietly in favor of this new outspoken form of mass empowerment, spreading not only through the United States and Europe, but around the world. Other leaders are in a quandary, still following their contracts to their overlords and attempting to behave as if all were business as usual, yet knowing quite clearly, and feeling quite powerfully, that their time is done. For the tide of the Divine Feminine rises ever higher, as the return of that goddess energy and expression within human consciousness grows stronger by the hour. There is increasingly less and less room in human thought or tolerance for the old forms of oppressive control, the dumbing down of whole populations, secrecy regarding the galactic presence, the hiding of life-saving technology and natural cures, Earth's true history, the need for real education, and most importantly, the soul-infused realization of an entire planet of beings that it is time now for them to claim their sovereignty once again, and for all time. We do not say all of this to downplay the immensity of your inner work. For we see you struggling many days to throw off the shackles of third-dimensional life, having to reinvent not only Earth life but the most basic understanding of who you are, and how you function in this universe. We are aware of the gargantuan nature of this task, and our beholding of it is a mixture of awe and something akin to envy at your being the ones to experience firsthand the beautiful nature of this miracle and its unfolding. For you have more than what you call front row seats to this astounding transformation, dear ones. You are the makers of it yourselves. And so when you phone or write your representatives to voice your refusal to accept a poor choice of nominee, or new law passed by an authoritarian madman, or when you sign a group declaration, or march in the streets to demand and command forth a higher form of living than what the old ruler usurpers have decided you may have, none of that is futile, and all of it is a beautiful form of becoming. The day will come when none of this is necessary. A day when you will look out upon a peaceful world of green perfection, flowering in purity, and offering clean air, food, and water. When you will see children educated in kindness, fairness, compassion, and truth. When you will create your own governing bodies, which rotate decision-making so that all, in turn, have their chance to represent and use their voice. And when you will happily take up your place in the intergalactic confederation of worlds, no longer shut off from the vast number of cultures that populate your part of the universe. Can't this happen now? You ask. And we would say, it is happening, dear ones. Yet you would not come up from a very great depth in the sea so quickly that you would get what are called the bends. Nor would you leap from the atmosphere of one planet into the atmosphere of another, even if it were breathable, without giving your system adequate time to adjust and recalibrate. In the same way, you are learning to become fifth-dimensional, taking on the attributes of a fifth-dimensional world, a fifth-dimensional people, in steps and stages. You are taking on the light codes of new information, meant to awaken your heart minds to new levels, in phases that are acceptable to you, without your minds or bodies reacting with shock from an overload of new and higher frequencies, in a too much too soon scenario. We are aware that there is some fear-spreading information afoot, such as assurances from the dark hats that ascension is being successfully held off by such phenomena as chemtrails and special technologies meant to keep out the light. We find this a serious notion, in terms of how seriously most of you take this information, and a humorous one, in terms of the actual efficacy of these attempts. Understand that this light is coming into your planet now, and you are experiencing at such a level, that nothing can shield or fend off the powerful effects, the entire new reality, that it carries. You are experiencing such because you actively chose to be here in this new era of enlightenment, and not because some false outer structure is declaring that you may experience it. That is the sort of construct that you are fast overcoming, and refusing to be held back by. It is your idea of yourselves, your vision, that is unstoppable now, dear ones. Anyone viewing your planet can see as much, unless they are in the deepest forms of denial. And so we ask that you come out of any last vestiges of denial, and move forward, and refuse to be taken in by the ploys for fear or anger or divisive separateness that for so long have weakened or diluted or dissolved previous movements toward human freedom. This time, this particular revolution, cannot be denied. We stand with you, we are you, more than ever now. Namaste, friends. Called upon us. You are never alone. Channeled by Caroline Oceana Ryan. CarolineOceanaRyan.com